Chapter 4. Baby, are you gonna eat that? Adena is saying the half-eaten orange of my life while I sit leaning against the outlet wall behind the fourth. Have it it. The words had barely slipped by my lips before she leans over, her curly hair blowing in the soft breeze as she smacks the fruit and pops a slice into her mouth. The Imperial, with the impressive backhand, left me the lovely gift of a split bottom lip, making it difficult to choke down food. How you do today? I asked while miserably spinning the thin silver wedding band on my thumb. The cold silk of my father's rings beats into my skin, comforting me like it always has. I suppose I'd have my mother's too if it weren't buried with her when I was a baby. Idleness, father has said. She was an ordinary, after all, and the lot of us are apparently weaker, dismissed humans. But he married her anyway, loved her despite it, protected her, kept her secret just as he did mine. Adena signs, and I brought back to the present when she says between bags of orange. Can't complain. Oh, I sold that top I had been working on for age, for 3 whole shillings too. You know, the green one with the deep necklace and scalloped hem? I give her the same confused look I always do when she starts speaking in her sweet language. Oh, you are hopeless when it comes to clothes, B. I glance out at my battering tank beneath the olive green vest atop it. Everything changed that day. Adena made me the pocketed best, knowing that it could serve me well as a thief. That was the day an uneasy alliance began to blossom into an easy friendship. Adena taps a finger against her lips, considering something. I bet if you have on the right outfit, everyone would be too easy staring at you to even notice you are robbing them. I snort. I'd rather not have people staring while I'm completing claims. That seems a bit counterproductive. I smacked up my braggart and took it into my boot, brushing my fingers along the swirling silver handles. It's the only other keepsake I have from father's besides the ring, both of which I never go without. I admiring the intricate handles for the 100th time before showing when I suddenly remember something. Be careful today, eh? There are fewer grouse out than usual for some reason, and I don't like it. It's just... I struggle to find the right words. Just keep an eye out for anything out of the ordinary, okay? She looks slightly unsettled by this news, but the narrate of her hazel eyes is painful. Is your physique to warn you of potential danger? Yeah, we definitely need to work on your subtlety. I say, shaking my head at her with a smile. I stand to leave, groaning as I stretch out my sore body. Adena gathers her clothes, all varying in different sizes and colors, and reluctantly waves goodbyes before heading back out onto lot in the hopes of selling more items before sundown. I stepped out onto the crowded street, now battered in late afternoon sunlight, and headed towards the booths of the marketplace. I started off easy, first nicking some fruit and fabric before growing bored and moving onto the bigger and better items. Wallets, watches, and shillings, and what I am really after this evening. I spent a man with dark blue hair and a glittering watch adorning his thick waist before quickly deciding to make him my next target. Peering down the packet street, I spot a few others with abnormally colored hair floating the cross, evidence that a genetic alterating plagues claim with more perks than just supernatural abilities. Though, even with the moth of silver heart atop my head, I still wasn't gifted with a power to accompany it. It makes me far too long to escape the blue-haired mind after stealing his watch, not because he caught me, no, but because he wouldn't stop talking to me. After stumbling into him and slightly slipping the accessory from his words, it was clear the poor man was dying to speed gossip with anyone willing to smile and nod at him. I'm about really to head in early and call it a decently successful night when a tall figure, completely clad in black, scrolls onto lot. He walks with an air of confidence, so at us, with the lounge of the homeless, have adapted in the hopes of drawing a little attention to themselves as possible. But this month it's making it difficult to look away. He wears a loose black button-down, tucked it into slim black pants, and separate by a simple belt. His colored skirt is halfway unbuttoned, billowed open in a breeze to expose part of his stained chest. His facial figures are fuzzy from distance, but his dark black hair falls over the top of his forehead in messy waves. With his hands buried in his pocket, his long strides carry him deeper into the market, looking cold and collected. He's not from here. I can see it in the way he looks around as if taking it all in. It's likely he's an offensive, an elite, or higher status or noble blood who rarely sets foot in the slums. I can see in the way he walks, in the shine in his shoes, that this man will be carrying far more than a few measly shillings. I squirk, trying to get an idea of where he might have slipped his silver. There, swinging against his left, attaching from his belt with a strap, hangs a punch that many aliens use to carry change, especially the confident ones. Seeing that an unguarded purse is easily picking from the thief, easy pickings for me. My last unlucky target for the night. It's a good thing he is a bleeding child, or I would have lost him in the swarm of people. I watch women of all age crying their necks at his presses, trying to get a better view of the handsome stranger before he melts into the mass of people. I shove through the crowd and tail him until he stepped out of the main path. Between merchant cars and onto a less crowded street, I shake out my hair, letting the long waves fall imply over my shoulders, and I go down the street, heading to cut him off. The back alley I zigzag through spits me out onto the same one the stranger's rolling down, and now I am heading straight for him. I kept my eyes glued to the ground while we collide. Following my usual routine, I let myself stumble backward from the impact, fighting against every inch screaming at me to plant my feet and style my round. Strong arms wrap around my waist to keep me from falling, leaving his money palms open and exposed to low lives like me. I grab hold of the front of his skirt, acting as if I did so as a reflex to keep my balance. Really, I just needed a reason to have my hands so close to his body without looking suspicious. The starving voice from Lutz don't feel like this. The thought dissolves when I reach my hand onto the punch and his hip. My fingers deducing that there are at least 20 shillings casually handed from his mind's bells. He must be very confident in his abilities to go around loot with so much, loot. I'm tempted to read up the punch and run, knowing full well he called me in about 3 long strides, but not knowing when I quite literally run into opportunity like this again. I refuse to live without at least half of what's in his bag. But he'll feel the well difference if it take half. My mind is brilliant. Then distract him. With all his plottings happening without a matter of moments, I quickly and quietly plunged half of the guns in my first before currently putting my hand out of the punch as I steadied myself against him. Then I slowly turned my gaze from his partially exposed chest, where the edge of a dark tattoo peeks out behind the fold of his skirt. My eyes finally met his. It's like looking into a storm. His eyes are the color of a thundercloud stealing over Ilian, of smoke pulling from the chimneys overhead, of the stolen silver coins clutched in my fist. His black, long lashes are in total contrast with his steely grey eyes, now sweeping across my face. Shock raises his dark browns, tingles his sharp jaw, emphasizes his strong cheekbones. We stand there, staring at each other. I'm suddenly awkwardly aware of every place he's touching me. His strong arms are still wrapped around my waist and half holding me up. Though his gaze feels like a curse in and itself. I clear my throat as I remove my fisted hand from his skirt, revealing complete fine fabric beneath before moving to step out of his hold. His lips twitching, allowing me to glimpse simply on the right church. He slowly slides his arms from my waist, releasing me as his hand catch on the both buttons of my vest. Calluses, he's a fire. Not that I need to be a physic to figure that out, seeing that his physics makes that fact obvious. With the thought of him being a trained fire and doubling myself in mind, I nonchalantly put my hand behind me to hide the evidence of my crime. The coins slide silently into my back pocket as I take a deep breath, trying to pull myself together. Do you always fall into the arms of handsome stranger, or this is a new thing for you? His questions displays dimply again when a grin settles on his face, revealing white, straight teeth. Not only the cooking ones. I smile coldly while he looks at me like I'm a pussy he's trying to decipher, amusement playing all over his face. Distracting. He clutches and rolls a hand through his ivory hair, only managed to make the waves messier. Grey eyes search mine as he says, "Well, looks like I made quite a first impression then." "Yes," I say slowly, too. I still haven't decided if it was a good or bad one yet. Keep his mind off the money and his focus on you. He soars, shoving his fan into his pocket. The perfect picture of cool indifference. I caught you, didn't I? Now it's my turn to laugh. He cocks his head slightly to the side and he peers down at me, the corner of his mouth still up. Leaning in, he asks, "Maybe you should consider the detail before you decide, darling." Plagues a pretty boy with pretty words. Dangerous. His smoky eyes sweep across my face, once again looked at me as though I'm drink-reading. I refuse to fight the tone in his face, and I take a step backward towards the busy street. "I'll keep it under consideration, darling." I drag out the last word, mimicking him with a grin. His smile widens, displaying dimples on both of his teeth, and I force myself to ignore them as I add, "And thank you for saving me from eating coleslaw." I seems to be coarse with clumsiness. Well, your clumsiness found me, so I hardly carried the curse. He said simply, now leaning against the walls, hands in pockets. I smiled, unable to suppress the eye roll that accompanies it. I glimpsed his grin one last time before spinning on my heel and walking back unloadedly, disappear into the crowd. My mind is reeling, replying the observation I made of him as I make my way down loot. The scars splintering his hands and the raw gulkiness from the recent fight intrigued me the most. And it's almost a shame I won't discover the story that accompanies them. The thought of an offensive left wearing a scar almost bringing a smile to my lips, proof of weakness. I grabbed the coins in my back pocket, letting them click in my palms with a triumphant smile. I